Abby and Patriot here. Today we're going to be teaching you how to clean and take good care of your whistle. So it's extremely important that every single time you play your whistle, right when it's warm, you want to clean it, because otherwise you're going to have stuff build up and it will affect the sound of your whistle and it will rust. So I'll show you how to do a basic cleaning, how to take care of it, and how to do a nice deep cleaning if you do forget to clean it and it has issues. So first, you want a nice cleaning cloth. Mine is a nice big handkerchief. It can be whatever you want, as long as it's absorbent and reaches everywhere, can reach all the way up to the top of the whistle. Now my whistle conveniently splits in half, which makes cleaning a whole lot easier. If yours doesn't, you're going to have to get a nice long cleaning tool to get all the way up. So first thing, you want to clean the mouthpiece. So this will get a line of goop on it from where your mouth is on it, and it's really important to get that cleaned off so it doesn't rust or build up. So right when it's warm, you want to wipe the front, the top, and this whole back area, everything in this mouthpiece area, even down to this little part. You want to wipe the entire area till it's completely clean. And once you've done that, I'm going to split my whistle in half. If yours doesn't split in half, that's fine. Your tool will just have to be longer. And so first, I take the cloth in my finger and I just wipe out the ends if it's really wet, if I've been playing it for a long time. And then I hold it in my knees and I get my lovely cleaning dowel. Now this is a kind of short dowel. It is easier if you have, especially if your whistles don't split in half. A longer dowel is easier, but this is what I have. I've also used a chopstick in the past. Whatever you want to use, just make sure it's not metal, because that will damage your whistle. So this is a wooden dowel, it's a plastic chopstick. Whatever you use, don't use metal or anything else that's going to be harmful on your whistle. So first, you shove a corner of your cloth down into the bore of your whistle. Then you're just going to take your dowel or whatever your tool is and shove it down till it comes out to the other end. And again, if your whistle doesn't split in half, it's going to be shoving it up until it goes all the way to the top and circling it around in the instrument. For this, I just pull it back and forth. If it's super wet, you might want to have someone hold it so you can get a really vigorous pull back and forth. And if it's still kind of wet when you pull it out, grab a different corner of the cloth and go at it again. So then I'm going to do the same thing on top of my whistle. I'm going to first clean out down here, and then I will shove it down with the dowel till it reaches the very top and just kind of rub it around, make sure it's good and clean. So another important thing is to make sure that down in here is cleaned up. So you can use a Q-tip to just kind of wipe out in there, like so, just dry it off. You can also take your cloth and lay it over the hole, and then take something skinny such as this lovely little chopstick and just force the cloth down into the hole and rub it around. Either way works, as long as you make sure you dry out. This is a favorite spot for stuff to get stuck, and it will affect your whistle if stuff builds up there. So now that we have that done, I'll put my whistle back together, and then last part that you need to do every single time you play your whistle is clean out this actual mouthpiece where the air blows through. So what you're going to do is take a piece of newspaper and cut it into a nice long skinny strip, maybe about an inch, inch and a half, just as long as it's skinny enough to where you can fold it into a skinny little strip like this. Mine is always horribly ugly and crooked, but it fits down the whistle, and that is all I need. So you're going to take your little strip and make sure it's skinny enough to go down, and then you're just going to push it through until you get it out through here, like that. So you have it on both ends, and then you're just going to pull up and down, side to side, and really clean out that area, because if stuff builds up in here, it will change the pitch of your whistle and it's going to start sounding fuzzy. So once you've done that, you want to make sure the whole whistle, outside of the whistle, is good and wiped down, like so. And it's really important with your newspaper, don't use anything rougher than newspaper. Cardstock is a whole lot simpler. You don't have to fold it, and it's easier to handle, but in the end, it's going to damage your whistle. I've gotten this information off of MK Pro's website, which is who makes this whistle, and they recommend not to use anything rougher than a newspaper because it will eventually, with rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, it will damage the inside of the whistle, which will permanently change the pitch, which none of us want. So make sure it's newspaper or a comparable kind of paper. So that is the basic cleaning. Next, we have our case. You always want to store your whistle in a case because there's a few reasons. Obviously, if you drop it, it's not going to get hurt as much. And also, my case is a nice felt case. And felt is lovely for whistles because it draws the moisture. Felt automatically pulls moisture to itself. So if there's any moisture left over in your whistle after playing, even though you cleaned it, if there's something in there, the felt will draw it out instead of keeping it stored in there with the whistle like plastic would do. So you want to make sure whatever your case is, it's going to absorb the moisture and not block it in there with the whistle. So felt is definitely my favorite. Whatever you do, research it well and make sure that people who know what they're doing with their whistles think it's a good case. And this is very important to store. Also, if your whistle splits in half like mine, you want to make sure you always store it in one piece because if you drop it, it's still going to be together. Whereas if it's in two pieces and you drop one half, they might not fit back together. So last thing for care of your whistle is, again, if yours splits in half, you want to grease the joint if it starts getting stiff and hard to move. We use cork grease for this. This is something you can get at any music store, and it's generally in the brass section. It's used on a lot of brass instruments. It comes in this convenient little chapstick bottle that I absolutely love. And all you do is you just swipe it a few times. You don't need much. You swipe it along the whistle, and then you can use your nifty little thing of newspaper. Spread it around. Never use your fingers because that will tarnish the brass. But you can use Q-tip, your finger, whatever you so desire. Just don't use your finger if you want to keep shiny, nice brass. So, from there, we will be moving on to the deep cleaning. Now, what's very important to note, you should never ever use water or soap on your whistle because it's very damaging, and even if you try really hard to dry it out, water can stay in there, and it's much safer just not to use water on your whistle. Now, alternatively, you can use rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol doesn't rust, and it does a very good job at cleaning gunk off, and it will not damage paint on your whistle. So one thing to remember though, rubbing alcohol, I like to use it in more of a spot cleaning method. There's no reason you should have to wipe your entire whistle down with rubbing alcohol. So just use it where you need it. And don't leave it sitting on the whistle. Make sure you wipe it out because although rubbing alcohol does not rust, it draws in moisture from the air around it if you let it sit, and then it will get more water on it, and in the end it could cause rust. Not a huge concern, but just make sure you dry it off after you're done using it. And the main places you're going to want to use this are if the mouthpiece gets really gunky and you can't get it off. That's a great place to use it. Another place is down inside right here under the mouthpiece. And this area is a place that gets neglected a lot by whistle players. And there's a few things you can use. You can use a Q-tip, dip it in the hydrogen or the rubbing alcohol, and then just, wipe it out. Sometimes if the gunk is really, really hard stuck on there, this will just bend and it's not going to work. So I like to use these guys, which are called blending stumps, and you can get it in any art store by the pencils, graphite pencils, and it's used to blend graphite when drawing. And don't use mine, unfortunately, I already used while drawing, so I wouldn't recommend using a used one. Get them not used. But I brought one for demonstration, and again, just like with the Q-tip, you dip it in the rubbing alcohol, And if in here is really gunky, it's really good at cleaning it out, and it's not going to bend and break on you. It's going to be sturdier than your Q-tip, and it'll get a really good clean. So that is the most important stuff to make sure you keep your whistle healthy and happy. Make sure that you clean it every single time that you play it to keep it in proper. You don't want to get rust or anything like that, because you can't go back from rust. So take good care of your whistle. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, because we post low whistle videos all the time. And we'll see you next time.